Good afternoon and welcome back to the channel. It's a very local lockdown landscape edition of the channel this afternoon. It's Saturday the 7th of November 2020 and England is now in its second phase of lockdown. Hotels, bars, restaurants are all closed as well as non-essential shops. But in terms of your well-being and mindfulness, daily exercise is still permitted as well as recreational activities, and photography is definitely a recreational activity. So I have a number of Lake District videos out on the channel at the moment, but I thought I'd just intersperse and break that up with a local landscape photography vlog. And this one's taken from a spot where I filmed my very first vlog back at the end of July. If you haven't seen that, please feel free to dive into the videos, go back and give that one a view. But this one is of one of my most favourite local trees. The previous shot was taken at sunrise and I've not done a sunset here, so tonight I've come to hopefully grab a sunset. There's some lovely light at the moment, but there's not much in the way of cloud cover to pop when that sun drops below the horizon, but nevertheless we'll see what we can capture. So the sky has now dipped below the horizon, but whether that sky is going to pop is very, very doubtful, but I'm still going to take an image, and I thought it would be good to share with you my thought process in putting this picture together. So the very small tree that you can see right up in the distance, the footpath wends its way down past the larger tree that's obviously the focal point and subject of my composition, carries on past yourselves and out the other side. So I've walked up and down this particular footpath looking for the best spot to take this image. So the first thing that I've been very mindful of is making sure that I cut out that tree on the horizon there. Very distracting element to the picture, and it's just a question of making sure that my kit is set up and I've zoomed in sufficiently to lose that tree in the crop. So the next element that I considered was taking a leading line and drawing your eye from the bottom corner of the image right through and up to the focal point being the tree. This path serves as a great leading line. It's sunk in between these two freshly seeded fields. It's got some lovely greens and yellows and furrows where people have been walking and biking, so it gives you that distinct line, something that draws your eye, gets your attention and brings you through the image, giving it that 3D depth as it takes you on upwards to the focal point of the tree. So the next element that I considered was the negative space. So the negative space is that area around the focal point of the subject. In this case, obviously it's the sky, that empty space that we were hoping was going to pop, but it looks like I've got two hopes now. Anyway, in very simple terms, that negative space is the area around the focal point which defines the centre of interest of your image. Now in this image, what I've done is I've set the camera up in portrait orientation to ensure that we've got the tree with sufficient negative space both above and to the side, which you'll see in the image when I put it up later. So the next element for consideration when I was looking at this particular image was contrast. So the difference between light and dark, most specifically the tonal contrast. So taking the trunk, the branches, the leaves, the silhouette of the tree in all its darkness compared to the relative brightness of the sky behind it gives that clear definition within the image, and it makes the image pop and stand out. So the final element that I considered was what's called the rules of thirds. Now I know many of you will have heard of the rule of thirds, but for those of you that haven't, imagine the screen divided up by two vertical lines and two horizontal lines. So the screen is in effect split into 9 different squares. And then what I've done is I've taken the tree, and you'll see this when I put the final image up, but I've put the tree where this line, the right hand line, intersects the bottom line. So the tree is actually on this line and on this intersection. And the reason for doing that is to make sure that that tree isn't central to the image. Now, that's not to say that you can't have the main focal point of your image in the center of an image. Of course you can. So there's times and there's opportunities when you would use different ways of framing up an image and putting a composition together. But for me, in this particular case, the rule of thirds works really well because the tree is offset to one side. And as we talked about before, we've got that leading line bringing you into the tree, and then it's given that definition with the contrast between the light and the dark, and also set apart with a negative space. So I think in summary, they're all the key elements that I've considered when putting this particular image together. So I hope that's helped, I hope that's useful. If it is, please let me know down below in the comments. So this Sony ZV1 is very, very good in low light. Quite amazing how dark it is at the moment. And looking on the viewfinder, it looks an awful lot brighter than it is. So I am going to call it a day. I've been here probably all in all now for probably just over an hour. I took some images before I started this particular vlog. So I will share some of those with you. That was before the sun went down. I'll also show you the image that I took back in July, and then I'll show you the image which I'm just about to take now. This is probably going to be my last image. That sky is definitely not popping. If it is, it would normally be within that first 30 minutes of sunset. Definitely not happening, but this is landscape photography. This is what happens. The sky, the Clear Skies app showed a lot of high cloud for sunset, so it was looking very, very promising. Even looking at the sky itself this afternoon, just an hour and a half before I set off, it looked like a real promising sunset on the horizon, but it's not to be. So, you know, you don't always end up with those absolutely portfolio quality shots. I'll share what I've got. And thanks for sticking with me to the end. So I'd just like to end by saying thank you ever so much for watching. Really appreciate all the support and comments. Everybody, you take care, stay safe, and until next time, thank you and goodbye.